I'll be reading from Luke chapter 8, verse 26 through 28. They sailed to the region of Gerasenes, which is across the lake from Galilee. When Jesus stepped ashore, he was met by a demon-possessed man from the town. For a long time, this man had not worn clothes or lived in a house, but had lived in the tombs. When he saw Jesus, he cried out and fell at his feet, shouting at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, don't torture me."
Thank you. Well, last week we started talking about signs, and it was to do with the miracles that Jesus was doing. Oftentimes are called signs, and signs are meant to point to something, and so the miracles themselves are not the be-all and end-all of what Jesus was trying to do, but he was trying to point to something bigger, something greater. And so as we are beginning this series looking at these different miracles that Jesus did, we want to see beyond something that's physical that quite often happen. As a matter of fact, the context of what we're looking at today is we're talking about demons. Jesus casting out demons. We're specifically going to look at this event, although Jesus did cast out demons in many different times and occasions. Sometimes it's just mentioned that, and he also cast out demons when it mentions about the sick and the lepers. Sometimes we have other events that are listed, but this maybe is the longest and most detailed, and so it is found in 3 of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and each one of these Gospels has a detailed account, although each one of them has different information that we're going to be able to add to the scenario, so we can put everything together and maybe come up with a good rounded story as it unfolds. So Matthew chapter 8, Mark 5, and Luke 8. All this is going to come up on the slides, so you don't have to worry about flipping back and forth. And I was trying to figure out which gospel I'm going to talk about the most from, so you could just maybe stay there. Don't really know. So just choose your favorite, and you can follow along. But if you want to bounce back and forth with me, you can do that. But we're not going to spend a lot of time at it because it can be quite a lengthy story. But here, as we're looking at demons, again, the question would be, is what's beyond this? Did Jesus just come to cast out demons and then that was it? And so there's a lot of nice lessons and events and things that unfold that are historical. They're factual. They actually happened. But so we think, well, what's that do for us today? Because first of all, I don't know if I've ever met anybody that's demon-possessed. Sometimes you think that guy's close over there or whatever. It's like, just the way he acts or, what he does. But if he is demon-possessed, Jesus is not here to cast out the demons. So, we could have a debate on that, about demon possession today, but not now because I got the floor. So anyway, we're going to talk about demons. But so today, what is the lesson for us? What is Jesus going to help us with? And so I think as the story unfolds, maybe you'll understand a little bit more of where we're going with it. So Mark chapter 5 in verse 2, Jesus got out of the boat, and if you remember, they were coming across the sea. Jesus apparently was very tired because he fell asleep in the boat. Bill Cleghorn and Terry, they were on the cruise ship just a couple weeks ago, right? And so it was a really big cruise ship, and there was probably about 3,000 or 4,000 people on the ship. And so they could probably go through some storms on the ship, and it's kind of like didn't even notice. But these guys are probably in a fairly small boat, probably a fishing boat, because that's generally what the people did, on the Sea of Galilee. So if there was a real storm, things were knocking around. Things would be, really uncomfortable. But apparently Jesus is just sleeping. During the whole time, all the other apostles are awake, they're bailing water, they're terrified, they're rowing, trying to get through the storm. They're doing all they can. And you remember, they're the fishermen. They should be used to storms once in a while that come upon the Lake of Galilee. They think they're going to die. So they think, let's wake up Jesus, Master. Actually, because sometimes in church we don't really yell, okay? But so what they said is, Jesus, don't you care that we're perishing? Probably not. That's not how they said it, right? They probably yelled at the top of their lungs. Oh, see, I knew I'd wake somebody up. Jesus, we're going to die. Get up. I knew I should have been a yelling, screaming kind of preacher, but anyway, that wasn't in my future. They were terrified. So now they're to the land, right? So Jesus has been doing a lot of miracles, literally a miracle that just saved their life, and now they're coming up to a man that has an evil spirit. We're going to find out he's actually demon-possessed, so evil spirit, demons kind of go hand in hand. And so the next part, in this sentence, it says, well, he came from the tombs, okay? So if you're living in the local cemetery or graveyard, it's not a very good sign that, first of all, you have a very nice place to live, that you have a very comfortable life. I'm not sure exactly what you eat, and your friends, it may be a little lonely. Although this man did have friends, okay? So we're going to see this unfolding. Again, some Gospels just list him. Some Gospels list him and another. But there's probably a good chance there was several of them living amongst the tombs, okay? But doesn't that sound inconsistent? Right? Well, not exactly, because just a minute ago I said that Billy and Terry went on a cruise. But were they the only ones on the cruise? Right? So what if I didn't mention that? Like, you may go to a ball game and you say, well, I went to go to the ball game and, I just went with my wife. Just my wife and I, we just had a great time at the ball game. And afterwards, somebody comes up and says, you didn't tell the whole truth because there was 50,000 other people at the ball game. You never mentioned anything about them. Well, yeah, I didn't know them. That was not part of the story. That's not the part that I was trying to emphasize or to tell. So sometimes you tell a story and emphasize a one person in this story. You're not saying there's nobody else there or two people. And it's not because there's no one else there. It's just you're emphasizing what you want to emphasize in the story. All right, so here is a man living amongst the tombs. So we better move this along a little quicker. For a long time, this man had not worn clothes. Again, that's not a good sign. And it's not because, he had some kind of a fetish or some kind of a desire to do this. In his madness, in his insanity, and maybe when he was saying, it's like, where are my clothes? Apparently, when the demon took over my life, I probably just ripped my clothes off and shredded them or lost them or whatever. And sometimes he's in his right mind, but sometimes he's lost his mind. Now, there may be some diseases or sicknesses that may be similar to this, not quite bipolar, but maybe even multiple personality disorder. Today, that's not demon possession. So we're going to find out this man who is demon possessed. We wouldn't exactly say, well, his multiple personality decided to leave him and go into some pigs, right? That's eventually what's going to happen. So yeah, this is not either of those diseases, but today we would say that may be similar to what this man was going through. It's just a severe case, but it was caused by a demon. There's no doubt about it. It was a satanic, it was a spiritual battle, which is kind of interesting because this morning we talked about some of the struggles and battles and discouragement, depressions people had. And one of the people, Martin Luther, talked about some of the things he, even in that song, A Mighty Fortress, the demons that he talks about. So he's not just talking about demons way up there. He's saying there was even demons that were tormenting his own soul. Martin Luther wrote about that. But this man lived in the tombs and no one could bind him anymore. Now, what does that sound like? At one time, he could have been bound. At one time, he could have been restrained, but not anymore. Regardless, even with a chain. For he had often been chained hand and foot. So that sounds like in the past, and that would hold him. But now, even that will not hold him. He tore the chains apart, broke the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. So again, as this demon takes over his life, he becomes super strong. Okay, so I don't know if the demon was working through his adrenaline or the demon was doing something almost miraculous to make him that strong that he could even tear off chains and irons. In Luke chapter 8, many times it had seized him. So again, it's on again, off again, but it's not just once or twice it happens. Many times it would just kind of come upon him. I don't know how long it would last for, if it was for a few minutes or a few hours, and then it may leave him and he'll have a time of rest, a time of peace, a time of tranquility, a time of being normal. But then soon again, the demon would come back on him again. And although he was chained hand and foot and kept under guard, he had broken his chains. Now listen to this. The demon had driven him into solitary places, which again, sometimes this is the way people feel even today. Not that they're demon-possessed, but when they have a lot of struggles in their mind or in their soul or in their heart or with their emotions, what do? They go into solitude. They go into isolation. They just stay inside the house. Or they stay inside the bed, right? Not just for hours, but for days and sometimes weeks. They don't want to see anybody. They don't want to talk to anybody. They don't even want to check their Facebook. And something's wrong when people don't want to check their Facebook. Boy, it's a tough crowd here. Okay, anyway, that's supposed to be funny. I know I should really have the big smiley thing, laugh, applause, whatever. Anyway, so he was driven into solitary places. What a life to live. You can only imagine what he was feeling. You can imagine, boy, I would do anything if I could be free, if I could have my life back, if I could not be imprisoned, not be led around, not being controlled, overcome by a demonic force. So Matthew chapter 8 and verse 28, they were so violent. Interesting, it wasn't he was violent. Now he did come across being violent, but it wasn't even him. It was the demons inside of him were so violent that no one could pass by the way. So it's like, even when other people came around, he started, attacking people. Or maybe, if nothing else, going up and threatening them and yelling at them and making them feel so uncomfortable. It's like, man, I don't know what's going to happen next. I'm not going anywhere near this guy. So, again, that is awkward, isn't it? I don't know exactly what the protocol back then was, because sometimes you do want to go to the graveside to visit family members that have died, to go up to the tombstone, right? But he's living there in the cemetery. And so it was really hard for people to go by and see the people that they love that have already passed on. No one could pass by because these demons were so violent. But when he saw Jesus, this is the very curious thing as we start here. When the man saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him. And I'm guessing at this point, the demon was not controlling him. Because we're going to find out the demon speaks to Jesus. But if the demon looked out and the demon knew who Jesus was, but it'd be like, hang on, that's Jesus. I'm going the other way. If I'm the demon, I'm not going to go up to Jesus, because we're going to find out what the demon says to Jesus. So when he's in his right mind, evidently demon was taking a nap, not sleeping, not paying attention. And so all of a sudden this man is before Jesus, like right upon him. He ran, he fell on his knees in front of Jesus, and he shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High?" Again, what are we talking about here? This is the demon now speaking. It's not him. Because this man would say, "I know exactly what you want me to do, or what I want you to do for me. I want to be set free." Now the demon is saying, "Why have you come here? What do you want with me?" But look what he says about Jesus, Son of the Most High God. This is the first time he met Jesus. How does he know this about Jesus? Some people think, well, maybe Jesus was wearing a name tag. Or he was wearing his we got VBS shirts that say Jesus right on it, right? Well, how did he know it was Jesus, the Son of the Most High? Because the demon is what? Spiritual. It's a spirit being. And so he didn't see Jesus as a physical man. He saw Jesus as the Spirit of God, the Son of God. So we could identify and recognize Jesus right away. And so he says, in God's name, there's different translations. It's kind of hard to translate this part, but some of the older ones say, "I beseech you in the name of God, don't torture me." So not only did he know who Jesus was, but he knew that Jesus had the power to do whatever he wanted with the demon. So you think about it. The demon has had free will in this man's life as long as he wants, to whatever extent he wants, and now he realizes Jesus has all the power. Jesus could at once eliminate the demon. And we're going to find out even more about what this demon is afraid of. Matthew 8, have you come here to torture us before the appointed time? That's very interesting, isn't it? Because demons are saying, I know that Jesus has the power, but secondly, a demon says, I know my destiny. I know there's coming one day, a judgment day. There's coming an appointed time where I will be tortured. What does that mean? Well, that just means if you look through the book of Revelation, you find out that Satan and the demonic angels are going to be cast into hell, into the lake of fire, prepared for the devil and his angels from the beginning of time. And they're going to be there forever and ever, where the fire never goes out and the worm never dies. Well, that's what the demons know that. It's not going to be a surprise to them, like some people in our world. Maybe at the judgment, they're going to be a little surprised. They don't know a judgment's coming. They don't know about heaven and hell. Demons know. Have you come to cast us into the abyss? Jesus could have done it right then and there, and they knew it. He goes on to say in Luke chapter 8 and they begged Jesus repeatedly not to order them into the abyss. So now they are the ones looking for what? Mercy. Yeah, please, Jesus, please do not do this. Not yet. They know they're going to be there eventually. But please just give us more time. More time to do what, though? It's not like they're going to have time to repent, to change their ways. The demons to become a better person. Instead of tormenting people, they can go around and, bless people's lives, and they can serve people and encourage and, sing songs. In Sunday school, no, they're not going to be doing that. So they repeatedly begged Jesus. They knew that Jesus had the power to do as he willed. Mark 5 and verse 9, Jesus asked him, what is your name? So now there's a demon living inside of this man, and Jesus talking to the man now. Man, what is your name? And he says, my name is Legion, for we are many. So this man did not have one demon or two demons, but had many, many demons. We don't quite know how many, but we may have a small picture of how many demons this man may have had. So that'd be scary, wouldn't it? No wonder he was in such dire condition. You could imagine a man who's demon-possessed. Quite often we hear about that. One demon. But this guy has multiple demons. We are many. And he begged Jesus again and again not to send him out of the area. Now, again, that seems a little weird for us because, the demons, hey, we're just kind of getting used to this area. We've been living for a while, got some good neighbors. Most of them are dead. But it's a nice place. We live in the cemetery. Don't send us out of the area. Let us stay here. And so they're pleading again for mercy from Jesus. Luke 8, and a large herd of pigs was feeding on the hillside. The demons begged Jesus to let them go into the pigs, and he gave them permission. So again, the demons are thinking, what could we do? And so they're thinking of a good exit strategy. And so instead of waiting for Jesus to send them somewhere they don't want to go, they say, Jesus, you're a Jew. Apparently you don't like pigs either. Send us into the pigs, right? So Jesus says, okay, gives them permission. And so they leave this man and they go into the pigs. So let's find out what happens. When the demons came out of the man, they went into the pigs. The herd rushed down into the steep bank into the lake, and the pigs were drowned. Demons, not so drowning, okay? Because demons don't need oxygen to survive. The demons continue to live. We don't know. Where did the demons go from there? They evidently must have gone somewhere. So went into the pigs drowned. The demons went somewhere else. So when he said go, the demons went into the pigs. The whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake. They died in the water. So this is the next part that's interesting. The herd of pigs was about 2,000 in number. The question is, can one demon live in 4 or 5 pigs at one time? Because if one demon goes into one pig, then you got to do the reverse math. Not that hard to do. I was never a math major, but I think I could figure this out. That would mean this man had about 2,000 demons living inside of him. That's not a very good picture. No wonder he was so possessed, out of control, so strong, very hateful and mean-spirited, and really just end up being a terrible person, not because of who he was, but because he had these demons living in his life. Those tending the pigs ran off, reported this to the town and the countryside, and the people went out to see what had happened. So some people would have thought, wow, that's amazing. Now, some people that owned the pigs were thinking, we don't want Jesus around here. I mean, that was my whole herd of pigs, and they're all dead. Other pig farmers, or maybe even a sheep farmer, would be like, well, I hope Jesus doesn't meet anybody else with demons, because he may, eliminate our entire cattle. Everything's going to be gone. We've already lost 2,000 pigs. Even today, a pig farmer, if he loses 2,000 pigs in one day, and they're not at market, it's not going to be very good. It's not going to be happy. But it's maybe similar to our world today. People are more concerned about the pigs than they are about the man. It doesn't seem like anybody's really happy that the man is sitting there in his right mind, that he has been healed, that he is now able to go back home and to live with his family, that he's able to be a productive person in society, that he has his sanity back, that he can actually start wearing clothes again. Didn't really care much. We just care about the pigs. We just care about our money. We care about the profit. Just curious, anybody from PETA here, right? They would be like, man, what a terrible story. Pigs that died. And sometimes our world is backwards that way, isn't it? We care more about live animals. I have a dog and we love our dog. Okay? You with me on that? But you know what? Can I be honest with you? I love my family more. Right? My wife, my daughter, my son. I even love you more than my dog. If I had to choose between you and my dog, it'd be a close call. I choose you, right? But apparently they were more concerned about the pigs than they were about the man. When they came to Jesus, they saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons. Legion, that's many, many. Sitting there, dressed and in his right mind. And they were afraid. Well, of course they were afraid. What kind of power does this? Now, Jesus quite often had a discussion with the religious leaders saying, if Satan is the one casting out the demons, well, his kingdom will never stand because he's fighting against himself. Well, what are they afraid of? Are they afraid that Satan has showed up? No. Are they afraid that maybe they don't know the power of Jesus? Maybe. Or worse than that, they're afraid that maybe God is here. Some people would feel more comfortable meeting Satan than meeting God, right? Because we know who God is. God is holy. God is just. God is the judge. God is all-powerful. Satan, not so much. Maybe they were just afraid that it was God. Then the whole town went out to meet Jesus. So everybody comes now, and when they saw him, they pleaded with him to leave their region. So it's interesting, they can live with the legion of angels, but not in the region with Jesus. They just don't want him around anymore. He's just not good for their economy. So Jesus was getting into the boat. The man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him. Jesus did not let him go, but he said, go to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you. Interesting. This man, he was so appreciative of Jesus. He says, I just want to go with you. I just want to devote the rest of my life to you. I just want to show my appreciation. I want to serve you. I want to be in this ministry with you. I want to go out and tell other people about you. I want to be, are you taking resumes for a 13th apostle, right? I just owe you my life. You think, well, I'd want to go home. But no, he's committed to Christ because he sees the transformation that's happened. So there's something we can learn from that as we've been transformed. But Jesus says, well, listen, it would be best if you just went home to the people that you know, the people that are familiar with you, the people you have relationships with. You go to your town, to your village, your family, your home. Go to your relatives. Tell people what happened. Tell people that God has been good to you. Tell people that you've received salvation. Now, again, we don't know if he received eternal salvation, but at least for this time being, he received salvation from the demons in his life. Go and tell people how God has had mercy on you. It sounds like a pretty simple thing to say, a simple message to share. So the man went away, began telling it in Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and all the people were amazed. So kind of as we wrap this up, what do we learn? That Jesus, he cares about us. He's merciful towards us. He wants to bless us. He wants to free us. He wants to give us what we need. So, it's not, no one here, I think I could say that, no one here is demon-possessed. No one has a demon living inside of them. But some of these things we've talked about, you may feel like, well, I know I don't have a demon, but I've got some kind of spirit. And we've already talked about this, I know, 100 times in the last couple of weeks. But I've got a spirit of discouragement. I've got a spirit of depression. I've got a spirit of loneliness. I've got a spirit of oppression. I'm not talking about a demonic spirit. I'm just saying I've got something coming over me. I don't even really know what it is. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know where it came from, and I don't know how to get rid of it. Okay? So here's the thing. Ryan is here tonight. He's going to be here tomorrow night. He's going to tell you everything you need to know. He's going to fix, I'm kidding, Ryan. He's going to be like, oh, great. He's telling me I'm going to fix everybody all at once. But he's going to explain a lot of good things to us. So we're glad Ryan's even here tonight. I wasn't sure if he was going to be here, but if I knew you were going to be here, you could have been up here, sharing with us. So, but we're looking forward to tomorrow night. So this is the big push. I know you've probably never heard of this before. I've been pushing this every week for, it seems like forever. So this is what we're doing this week, okay? So come to the seminar, invite people to the seminar, right? So you can take some flyers or some posters, you can email people, you can share it on Facebook or social media. There's a lot of different ways you can invite people. You can even do it the old-fashioned way. You can actually pull out like a device, like a phone, and you have to dial a number. Like some people even have the turn, rotary phone. Dial somebody, get a friend on the phone. Invite them tomorrow night. Come with them. Sit with them. Encourage them. So this is what we're doing tomorrow night. Anyway, keep praying about the seminar. We really appreciate all the work that y'all have done, and even Justin praying about it tonight. It's always good to keep it in our prayers and in our minds. And I know it's going to be a great time, and we're looking forward to having a lot of people here. So we're going to have a song called Out of My Bondage. A good song that talks about, people are really controlled by sin, aren't they? They're controlled by Satan. They're controlled by sometimes an addiction. They're controlled sometimes by the desires that they have deep inside to live in an ungodly life. Now, we know a lot of Christians like that. We know that Christians are struggling with that. But people that are not Christians, what hope do they ever have? Well, the only hope they have is Jesus. And so we always offer an invitation. I guess tonight I could almost say in parentheses whether there's somebody who's not baptized. I think every one of us here have been baptized. But if you've not been baptized, and we can encourage you to be baptized, we'll let you do that now. Let us know if you're ready to surrender your life to Christ and become a part of his family and receive the promise that he has. Let's stand, we'll sing the song, and let us know how we can be a blessing.